Hi everyone, welcome to Tangle with Tracy Anne. In today's video, we'll be tangling up a nighttime cityscape. For this project, I'm drawing on a 3.5-inch square tile. I also show you an example of something that you can do on a piece of rectangle paper. I've chosen to use a HB pencil because I'm not shading and I want something that's light. To draw with, I'll use a Micro 01, but there'll be a lot of colouring involved, so a thicker type of pen would be handy. To finish up, I'll be using a white and a gold gel pen. For my background, I'll also be using some watercolour paints, a paintbrush and some water, and I've mixed up 3 colours. The colours I've chosen are permanent rose, mauve and also Prussian blue. I'll start by drawing 4 dots and a border. Once I've done that, I'm going to divide up the square by doing a diagonal line in both directions. From there, I'm dissecting each of these lines until I have lots of lines radiating out from the center. Using my Micron 01, I'm going to follow those lines as a guide to draw some buildings. Now, if you can imagine that there's a circle going around the center, that will give you a bit of a guide on to what angle the top of these buildings will go. I'm not worrying too much about too many perspective ideas. This will give you the illusion that you're looking up to the sky, standing on the pavement, and you've got high-rise buildings all around you. The main thing is just keep those lines of the building similar to the lines that I've drawn with my pencil. As you make your way around this square tile, vary the height and the width of the buildings and make it look fairly random, not too patterned. I'm going to use watercolours for my background, so once I've finished drawing the patterns, I'm going to erase that area in the sky. It doesn't matter too much about those buildings because we'll be colouring over those. Now that I've erased that centre part, I'm going to go over it with clear water and my paintbrush so that that whole area is wet. You could start off by colouring the whole tile with watercolour paint. The reason I'm doing it this way is because a lot of pens struggle when trying to draw on top of the watercolour pigment, especially the microns. They tend to get blocked up. Now that that area is wet, I'm going to just dot on the 3 colours that I've mixed up already, and you can see it just disperses through that water and mingles together nicely. I'm putting the lighter pinks towards the buildings and I'll make it a little bit darker in the centre. It doesn't really matter if you go over the edges a little bit because we'll be colouring those buildings in. Just make sure that the background is completely covered. Now that I've got the paint on, I need to let it completely dry, and I can just leave it to dry, or if you have a hairdryer handy, that can speed things up a little bit too. If you prefer to do a rectangle tile, I did my background first but found that those pens that I used in the other tile couldn't cope, so I used this quite thick permanent marker. You can see the buildings on this tile have bits of chimneys and steeples, and you can have a bit more fun with the shapes. You're not worrying about perspective. Before I start adding tangles, I'll give you a little look at which tangles I'll be using, and you can see what they actually should look like. Once I get into those distorted shapes in the buildings, the tangles tend to change a little bit. I only selected a few patterns, and you can find the step outs to all of these on tanglepatterns.com. You could use whatever tangles you like. Now that I've got one of each pattern down, I'm going to start repeating them. I don't want them to be in a certain order. I want them placed randomly on the tile, but make sure that it's fairly balanced. So if you have a building that's got lots of white in it, you don't want to put it next to a whole other series of buildings that also have a lot of white on them. It pays to take some time and go over your work and just neaten it up a little bit. So here it is finished, and here's my other piece finished. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, do that so that you don't miss out on future videos. And if you'd like to share your work in my Facebook group, there's a link below this video. Thank you for watching, and until next week, stay safe and bye for now. If you'd like to see more of my videos, head over to my YouTube channel, or there are a couple of links here on the screen. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button.